Hi, I'm Scott Humphrey, CEO of the World Floor Covering Association, and this is Leadership Live. So this week we continue unpacking what we're calling leadership by the letter, going through the alphabet and applying principles of leadership that start with each letter of the alphabet so that 2022 can be your best year yet. And this week we're in the letter D, and the word is delegation. Not one of our more exciting words, but certainly one of the most important words that we will face during this year. More leaders fail because of poor delegation than for any other reason. That is statistically factual. More people fail because of bad delegation or lack of delegation than because of any other reason. So we're going to unpack this, and there's a lot to unpack. So let me dive right in. So what is delegation? It's to entrust a task or responsibility to someone else, usually someone who is less senior than yourself. So the first thing to look at is, why do we not delegate? What are the reasons we don't? Well, here are some of those reasons, and I'll go through them very quickly. A lack of trust. We don't trust that the people we have around us have the ability to do the task. A need to feel necessary. We like the fact that people rely upon us to get things done, and so we don't delegate. Some people, weak leaders especially, desire credit for completing the task. They want themselves to be the one who is noticed as the leader, so they want to do it all. Some people, like myself, and I struggled for years with delegation. I'm much better at it now, but I really struggled with it because I hated putting a task off on somebody else that I thought I was not willing to do. In other words, I didn't want to demean somebody else because I felt like the task was below me, or at least didn't want them perceiving it that way. And finally, for many leaders, they fear that it won't be done to their standard. And so they just do it themselves, or they convince themselves, well, if I delegate it, I'm going to end up having to redo it anyway. So why is delegation important? Why am I talking about this topic? I've only got 2 letter Ds. Why did I choose delegation for one? Well, here are the reasons delegation is so important. First of all, work-life balance. As a leader, you have so many responsibilities that if you try to do it all, you can't do it all well. You will fail in some regard, or you'll never reach the standard that you could reach otherwise. We also fail because we don't align the task with the talent, but we should. And in other words, you've got people around you that have the ability to do things better than you can. If you know your team and you know what they're capable of, then you know specifically who you should delegate to so that you don't have to fear that it won't be done right. You should also delegate so that your people can shine. What does that mean? Well, what may be demeaning to you and in their eyes gives them the opportunity to prove what they're capable of. And I'll dive into that a little bit more in just a moment when I share my experience. And you should also delegate to prep your people for upward mobility. In other words, to find out what they're indeed capable of. Yes, it might be daunting and fearful to delegate an important task, but when you find out someone's capable of doing it, you can remove even more burden from yourself and do the responsibilities that you as a leader should be doing by delegating even more to the people who prove what they're worthy of. So, how do you delegate? Well, first of all, you need to surround yourself with the best. And you say, well, that's the reason I don't delegate, Scott. I don't have great people. Well, then that's on you, Mr. or Mrs. Leader, because you have the ability to put the best people around you. And by the way, if you're carrying someone who's not capable of being delegated to, you're not the only one who knows you're carrying them. That's right. You're losing credibility with your team because they also know you're carrying someone who cannot take the burden and run with it. The other thing you need to do is trust your employees. Make sure that you've got people around you, as I said, that can do the task, but then truly trust them to do it. Don't do the task alongside them. You can watch them the first time or two, but when you delegate, you should have people around you that are able to do the task, and you can go on to other responsibilities. I'm blessed in the job that I have with the WFCA that I have a phenomenal team around me. And part of the reason I don't struggle with delegation like I once did is I've put great people around me that have proven their ability to get things done. And so now when I hand something off to them, I don't go, oh gosh, did that get done or will it get done? I know it will get done because they've proven themselves. Don't micromanage. Don't stand right alongside them and do the task alongside them. Don't look over their shoulder. Don't make them fearful. It's an impossible way to do a task when you're not only worried about doing the task, but also worried about the person looking over your shoulder. Keep it simple. As you begin to delegate, make the task align with the person's ability, and then begin to delegate by stretching them, helping them become more than they realized they could be, seeing the potential in themselves that you saw in them when you hired them. Be very specific about what you want done. In other words, don't simply say, hey, I need that report by the end of the day. I need that report by 4 o'clock and I need it to contain these elements. Be as specific as possible with the delegation. Use the 2 pizza rule. This is made famous by Jeff Bezos, who said if you're delegating a task to a group larger than a group that could eat 2 pizzas, then that group is too large. Delegate responsibilities to individuals or small groups. Use the 2 pizza rule. And finally, check your emotions at the door. This is not about whether you are fearful, or because you will be. As a leader, you have a set standard for what you think is possible and the way you want something done. Check your emotions at the door. Trust, let them run with it, and they will amaze you. So this is a real life example for me because in a previous life, I had a gentleman I worked for who called me into his office one day and said to me, listen, I've been thinking about this, and you are the person for this responsibility. That trust that he placed in me, and by the way, that was placed in me by the CFO of the WFCA. That's right, the person I used to work for now works with me here at the WFCA. It gave me the ability to prove what I was capable of, and I believe is the reason I sit in the role I do. His name is Steve Abernathy. He's phenomenal. By the way, if you're not watching his series, Profit Matters, then you're missing the opportunity to be more profitable in your business. Look that up on the WFCA website, wfca.org. Listen, I am where I am today because somebody believed in me, delegated in me, and Steve's one of many along the way who said, you're capable of more, I believe it, and I trust you. And I fulfilled that trust. I'm sure I stumbled along the way, but he gave me the room and the strength to be able to prove what I was capable of. Listen, if you're going to be the leader you should be and that you could be, you must be a good delegator. You cannot do it all yourself. So here's the challenge to you. Evaluate your team, trust them with responsibility, and let them amaze you. Do that, and then go out there and lead.